Welcome everybody to the Comic Collectors Guild official YouTube channel. Today we're bringing to you a very special person, Karen Whitfield. She is the original Batgirl after the show ended who traveled with Adam West and Burt Ward. So we have her on the show today. We're going to talk about her life. She wrote a book about her whole life. So hopefully, we can get more bits and pieces about it and give you more information about who Batgirl was at that time while they were traveling across the United States. So today we have LT at House of Geekery. We have Nadia, Comic Geek Girl. And here we are. What do you guys think?
No, I'm excited, man. We've been planning this for a couple of weeks. We finally got set up a time where we can all get together, interview her, talk about her life, her book. I mean, a lot of people didn't know there was a Batgirl after the show, a traveling Batgirl with Adam West and Burt Ward. I mean, that was just, exciting enough to warrant this type of interview.
Nadia, exactly. What are your thoughts, Nadia?
Super excited. This is really cool. Like, my dad got me really into like Batman growing up as a kid and Adam West, and then like hearing that there was like another Batgirl was pretty cool to find out.
Perfect. Right. So why don't we bring her in and we'll start from there.
Cool. Do it.
It'll be a minute. She'll come in. Sorry, technology. It gets slow sometimes. You know how things work. Hi, Karen.
Hey, Karen.
Hi there.
Hi, Karen. Well, I'm Izzy, president of the Comic Collectors Guild. We have LT, vice president at House of Geekery, and Nadia, Comic Geek Girl.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on your show. This is awesome.
Great.
Actually, that-tastic.
Fantastic. Love that. So I guess we're excited. All of us are super excited to have you on the show today. And, when we found out who you were, especially me, I was overwhelmed as I couldn't believe we have a real live Batgirl after the show, which was amazing. And you have an amazing story to tell. So we definitely want to hear that today. Who wants to kick off talking to Karen?
No, I mean, Karen, hi, my name's LT. I'm calling you from Texas, and I'm appreciative of that we were able to get you on the show today. First of all, I've read your book and I loved it, and hopefully, we're going to be talking a lot about it, but let's start things off before we really dive into it. Let's just start by telling us why you wrote this book.
Great question. Well, it had been so many years and I was in hiding, so to speak. And I wrote it because I felt like I just needed to get the story out there. I know a lot of people, my family and friends, people that did know about it, and I came home, and some people didn't even know that I did that. But it was just, I felt like I was just led to go down that path again, by God or fate, or someone might need to read it, or just to show that I was out there, and just to remind people of who Adam West and Burt Ward really were as people too. Because, now that Adam's gone and everybody loves him, and people were around him all those years, but I was with them day in and day out for 5-6 years. I mean, with Burt and then with Adam when we traveled. And I just, before we all, get older, I want to be able to say who they really were and to remember them, because as time goes on, I hope they're not forgotten, but you know how life is, and they're true legends, and they are true superheroes, and they're definitely Batman and Robin.
Yes, they are.
That's awesome.
And I want to tell the story. So that, and also my own life, to show a part of it that I was involved with. And then, now that I've written it, I've had people come to me that did know about it, like my family, my mother's brothers, my uncles and aunts, and they always wondered what they were like to me, because when I came back, I didn't talk about it. I didn't let my family talk about it because I had to make a decision. I had to keep with that decision and not have Batgirl look over my shoulder or the Bat family. I wanted to have my own family to raise. And now that I've written it, they said they were really glad to read it because it showed that they were kind to me and nice, and they didn't make me come home, or it wasn't, there was no issues of being bad to me, you know, because you hear about all these things happening, especially now, and how good they were to me. And it was my decision to come home, and I wanted to let people know that as well.
No, that was clearly spoken to us in the book on how everything was under your accord, and you were not forced to leave. You were not forced to join anything, and it comes across really nice.
Yeah.
So that
which is good.
Do you have
Which is
any
very good.
funny? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Nadia.
no,
When
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, do you have any funny stories you want to share, like memorable moments from traveling with Adam and Burt?
Well, I have this one in my book. The funniest to me is when I met Adam. I mean, you know, his character, and he was like that. I mean, to everybody. And the first time I met him, it was in the airport in Texas, where we had to fly from LA. Burt and I did, and then we met Adam in Texas. I'm not sure where he was coming from.
Texas.
Portland, Texas, yeah. And I saw real cowboys there, actually, and it was fun.
That's right.
At the time, 40 years ago. I don't know if they wear those things now like they did then. But
There's still cowboys everywhere.
so Adam, we met in the airport, and he was Adam, and then we couldn't fly into a city because it was a terrible rainstorm, so we couldn't fly to the next city. So they had rented a limo, and I sat in between Adam and Burt in the limo, and it was at least a 2 to 3 hour. I mean, it was a long drive. I know it was like 2 or 3 hours, and Adam was Adam the whole time. I mean, so was Burt. And he would sing to the music and change his words to the music, to what he wanted them to say. And he made us laugh the whole time, even the limo driver. He was really funny. And that was the very first time I met him, you know, and I had heard stories, and Burt had, you know, prepared me of meeting him because of, you know, he is flirtatious, and he's fun and fun loving. And so, you know, and I was, you know, 20 years old, and that's young. I mean, you know, and back then, I mean, now, you know, the 20-year-olds are so more involved, or more, I'm not sure what the word is, but about 40 years ago, it was more isolated, you know, and I was from the South, and I had never traveled anywhere really, or had been anywhere. So here I am in the middle of Adam West and Burt Ward, Batman and Robin, and they were truly in their characters, even though they weren't dressed. I felt like at that time of watching them 10 years before that, when I was a little girl. And, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm laughing, and Burt's hysterical. I mean, he would laugh so hard at him at times he would cry. I mean, he'd have tears. And of course, Burt was trying to get prepared for the next city, you know, for the city and what we were doing, because he was the business aspect of it. He took care of a lot of those things. But and it was just funny. And I remember saying, "Oh, if somebody could see me now, I mean, if people could see me in the back of this limo with them." But it took a minute to hit me. But then when it did, it was really surreal. And that was one of the funniest moments that I remember having. And then how Adam would tease, you know, waitresses when we'd go places, and he'd make people laugh, and, you know, just the fans. I mean, he was, the most memorable time was with Adam, of course, with Burt too. It was just fun.
So basically, they were just down to earth, two individuals
Yeah, I
who
love that.
were in the limelight as well.
Yes.
So
And it was
that's
10
great.
years after the show. So, it wasn't too long after the show, so they were definitely in that limelight. And they were just like us.
Wow, that's awesome.
And to be still carrying that, at that time with no social media, no, interaction with fans, to still be in touch with, fans wherever you went to. That says a lot about the staying power of Batman and Robin.
Exactly.
Generations too.
Yeah, generations. So I'm just still starstruck, hearing this, and I could just imagine, you traveling the entire country with them and seeing, experiencing all types of new things, and you being Batgirl. I mean, we see that your costume right behind you, which is great.
Yeah.
Now, could you tell us a little more about your costume? I'm curious.
Well, the original one, is preserved, and I was 100 pounds back then, so I couldn't wear it now, even if I wanted to. That is the original cowl.
Wow.
And so when I spoke to DC Comics, I asked them, could I recreate another costume so that I can wear it to Comic Cons and things that I feel like I want to wear it to. And of course they did. So I had a girlfriend. She's a wonderful seamstress. And I knew if anybody could recreate her, it would be her, Judy. Her name is Judy Knox. And she recreated it beautifully and perfectly. No one would even know it's not the real one except for me. Really, I don't even think that Burt would know. But and then I purchased new boots because I'm heavier. I mean everything as we grow, as we age. So but yeah, I mean it fits nice. I mean and it looks it. And the first time I put it on when she made it, it was just very surreal because I'm like, wow, this is
Wow. Then Judy did a great job because it looks great.
yeah.
Now, LT, you and me, we had a conversation. You were telling me that costume, the design came from where? The actual look of it?
From what I read, Karen, that costume was not, of course, the costume from the TV series. This is the comic version of the costume. Is that correct?
Yes, it's number 359 of the comic version.
Right.
And when Batgirl was first introduced for actually the TV show.
Yes. We have that picture there so we can see that it almost looks exactly like that. I mean,
It
from
almost looks
graphic.
exactly like it.
Yeah.
So William Dozier. So when I was asked to travel with them as Batgirl, they decided. I'm assuming it was DC Comics decided to have me wear that costume because Yvonne Craig wore the purple and gold in the TV series, and so they didn't want people to be confused because I wasn't Yvonne Craig. And it also brought out the comic world versus the TV world. It brought the comic, and because that was the original one, so they wanted to bring that out and have me wear that. And that was when I first wore it was in 1978. So in 1977, that February, Batman Adventures came out, and it was the Bat family, Batgirl, Robin, and Batman. And she wore basically the suit, but it was more of a lighter blue, but it was still in that same age, the age of Batgirl. So they felt like just for me to take on that. And fans knew, it's like, the comics were huge back then, and of course they still are. And I believe fans knew that I was the comic Batgirl versus the TV series Batgirl, even though a few people asked me, but not too many.
Right. Well, at least now, whoever watches this show, they're going to know now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
now, in your book, you didn't start off as Batgirl. You were introduced later as part of the was it the triple duo? I mean, I'm sorry, instead of the dynamic duo was the Dynamic
Dynamic
Trio.
Trio,
Yeah.
which Batgirl made Bat Family, because it was a Batman and Robin. Then when Batgirl came on, it came into traveling with them or being a superhero with them. It was the Bat Family. But yes, I met Burt Ward when I was 20 in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we met, and I moved out to California to be with him, and we did live together. And I traveled with Adam and Burt. And as we traveled, I remember we were at dinner one night, and Adam had mentioned that Yvonne wasn't traveling with them. I don't know why she didn't want to, but she wasn't traveling with them, and said, wonder if Karen would like to travel as Batgirl. And I'm sitting there and listening, and he looked at me, and Burt looked at me, and I said, sure, yeah, it'll be fun.
Sure,
I mean,
why not?
I'm here, and then a few weeks later, I'm not sure how long that time was, but it wasn't too long. A suit came. Burt brought the suit home, and he, the DC Comics, I had someone make it, and he knew the size. He did ask me what size I was and things, and then he brought it, and it fit me like a glove. It was just beautiful.
That's awesome.
And the first time I put it on, and even when I put this one on after Judy made it, I felt like a superhero. There's something about it, and I think that's why people like Comic-Cons, because they can dress like their favorite superhero to Comic-Cons,
Yes.
and it really gives some kind of power, and you feel it. It's hard to explain it until you do, but I did. I felt the power. But of course, I had been traveling with them for about 6 months or so, and I saw how they transformed from Adam West and Burt Ward to Batman and Robin. It was just, it was just unbelievable and surreal. But then when I put that suit on that day, I felt almost the same thing. I mean, I felt like, wow, there was something in there.
Yeah, Nadia should know she does a lot of cosplay as well. So
Yeah.
and she
It's
goes
so
to
much fun.
Comic-Cons.
Just get into character and you feel empowered.
Don't you? You feel empowered. It's just really, what characters do you cosplay?
Catwoman, Harley Quinn. I do some like other like comic stuff, and like Celine, Underworld, vampires,
Oh,
and
wow. That's
it's
awesome.
fun.
It is fun, isn't it?
So Nadia, I know you had a couple questions you wanted to ask Karen. What do you got?
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy you touched upon how did you make the costume, because that was actually a question that feels personal to me, like making costumes. But getting to travel at like such a young age, how did you just like prepare to pick up and go? Like, how did you going to all these different places? Was there like anywhere in particular that felt like special or scary, or just the thought of traveling like everywhere and just picking up and going just sounds so fun?
Well, I didn't think about it. I didn't think, I didn't. I just was ready. My life is like that. I've always been that way. My spirit is just to have fun, enjoy life, and just go and be there, and don't think about it, because once you think about it, you're going to think, oh gosh, this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or what do they expect? Just go. I've always been go with the flow type personality, and I've always loved people and visiting new places and meeting new people. So I mean, I was, and Adam and Burt, Burt of course knew that. For me to know him 3 months later, I moved to California. I mean, what a big thing, what a big decision to do. And I didn't really think about it. I just remember okay, doing it. I can always come home. Okay, let's do this. Let's just see what happens. But it was huge, especially 40 years ago. It was huge. But I was always ready. It seemed like, I just love to do it. And like what I was just saying, I believe Adam saw that in me, saw the, just enjoy life with them, and let's just do this.
Right.
That's great. Could you imagine? And I actually have a question now. Traveling all around, you were there for Batgirl, but to more for the moms and daughters. I mean, what was the exact dynamic of how you were supposed to be Batgirl? Like, how was that supposed to go on, while you were traveling?
You mean after I was in the suit and we all walked in together?
Right,
Or,
right.
yes. We just, at Batman and Robin and then Batgirl. So we would all walk in together, and Batman and Robin, they almost put on a little show, not very long, but enough to get the crowd excited. And I would sort of just stand there, and watch them like I'm on guard, And then we would sit at a long table together, and they would see Batman first, and then Robin, and then Batgirl. That's how it was. And all the little girls and the mothers were excited to meet me. I mean, it was just so surreal to see that. And I was really excited because I wanted them to feel braver and stronger, like I did 10 years before that when I saw Yvonne Craig as Batgirl. I mean, it wasn't too, she was one of the first ones to live incarnation on TV to show, girls and little girls that they can be a superhero in their life and for other people.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, and I wanted people to feel that when they met me, because I remember what that felt like, and I was hoping, and that's one reason why I wanted to do it. I thought that would be exciting when they asked me.
I mean, that's great because, for the comic community being more of a, let's say, dominated, male dominated industry, you at that time were already showing woman empowerment, which is great. You did this so many years earlier, and now we have a lot of women in comics in the comic industry who are showing this, which is great.
Yeah.
So I like that balance. We're getting that balance now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking, LT? I see the cogs turning.
Well, I could just imagine. I mean, we've all been to cons, and we know how it is waiting in line to meet the celebrity to get their autographs. And I can just imagine. And you're saying what was it? 78, 79? I was, in fact, there's a picture of me. My mom made me a Robin Burt Ward costume. I was Robin. And I can just imagine myself standing in line, to get an autograph from the likes of.
And we did car shows. It wasn't Comic-Con back then.
Oh yeah.
There were car
malls,
and car dealerships opening up, and they had us come. So it was smaller venues, but it was huge lines. And that's one thing I want to say. I have to say. I mean, going forward 40 years, I've met so many people since then, and how people are. And I tell you, I mean, remembering how Adam and Burt were back then, and I was so young and watching. I mean, Adam was 49 years old when I met them, and Burt was 32. Think about that. That's huge. That's a lot. And I'm standing there looking at him, this powerful person, sweet and nice, and I never heard, and I'm remembering back them talking bad about people or complaining of, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. They were always ready. I mean, they were always ready. And then they were Adam and Burt, and when they put those suits on, they were Batman and Robin. Truly, I mean, their voices, their actions, their beings. I mean, they were Batman and Robin, and that taught me how to be Batgirl. I mean, I knew, and I couldn't. I mean, they were, these men. I knew that I wanted them to be proud of me, especially when I put on the suit, and especially in front of people. I wanted them to be proud of me as much as I was of them, and it worked.
I love that. I was gonna say, like, how did it feel being Batgirl and being empowered, and like who else has inspired you, like, in this like superhero life? You've probably met so many like celebrities or like writers and comic artists. Was there anybody else that like truly influenced you?
Other than them when they were in the suit, yes. I mean, Are we going, I mean, are you asking me like who I wrote about? You first, your question was one time about who I wrote about in the book of those people who inspired me.
Right.
Or are you asking, I'm just kind of not sure about
No, I believe either the celebrities you met, you wrote in the book, or just in life.
or just
In life.
Yeah.
okay. Well, actually, I mean, I like comics too. I like Superwoman. I think she's great. I think she's so powerful. And like, you know, Batgirl, she didn't have any superpowers. She was human, and she had her own powers by her own skills. And then when you compare it to Wonder Woman, it's fun to see the differences in those two. But Wonder Woman really empowers me. And but in people in general, I mean, some of the people that I've met, like way back then, you know, like people that became superheroes through life that I met back then, that I thought they were super people. And then when they actually became real life superheroes, number one was Paul Michael Glazer's wife, Elizabeth Glazer. I wrote about her in the book. When I met Paul, oh my gosh, he was so dreamy. I mean, I know 40 years ago, people thinking who is, but he really was. But then when I met his wife, and she came to our home to bring the contract, because he was, Burt was handling his fan club, well, and poster and things like that back then, before it was social media and everything we have now. But she came to the home and she made me feel, I was so nervous. I was like, and Burt said, I have to go out, you know, Elizabeth Glazer's going to come. She's going to give you the contract. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I talk to her about? What do I say? How am I? He said, just be yourself. So she came in and she was so kind and so sweet and so nice. And she asked me all about me, you know, like I was special, you know. She asked me all about me and asked me, you know, where are you from? How did you meet? You know, what are you doing now? And just really cared. And then a year later, you know, she contracted AIDS by having a blood transfusion when she was having her baby. And then
It's horrible.
yeah, it was, and that was when AIDS first started. You know, people didn't really know. They probably weren't checking for those kind of things when they were giving blood and stuff, and which is sad. And then the child, she did also contract, you know, have it from her breast milk. You know, her first daughter, and actually her only daughter, I guess, Ariel. Well, she and so what Elizabeth did, she became the head of the Children's AIDS Foundation. She set that in play, and it was 1981, and then I think in 1994 she passed away, but with the AIDS. And then Ariel, she did in 1988, and I followed her because she impressed me so much after going through all that she did, and she was so kind. And I, you know, she's a legend. She, you know, in the AIDS
Right.
Foundation. You know, and I think she's a real life superhero. And Farrah Fawcett.
And
Farrah
Farrah
Fawcett.
Fawcett.
She
That's
was,
awesome.
oh my goodness. When I first met her, she was just beautiful. I couldn't even stop staring at her. And I know I don't know if she thought it was rude, but I could not help staring at her.
Like,
She was one
You're
of those.
starstruck. That's what happened.
yeah.
You're starstruck.
I was starstruck. She's right after the red bathing suit, you know, how, you know, and even women, men loved her. You know, women did too. I mean, they saw the beauty and the sweetness of her. But and then when I met her, she was very quiet and poised and just really sweet. And you know, at first I thought, is she stuck up? She's not really talking, but she wasn't. That was just her personality. And so, and then 10 years ago, and I remember how nice she and kind she was. 10 years ago, she passed away with cancer.
Right. I
And
remember.
she showed that dark side of what it was like. I mean, I don't even know if I could do that. I mean, maybe, but she showed that dark side. I mean, she was a true superhero. She knew her days were numbered, and she showed the world. And I think that was just amazing to me.
Wow.
You
Yeah. And
know,
on a side note, Farrah Fawcett was born in Corpus, which is and 2 hours from where I live. Yeah,
That's
she's a Texas girl.
That's great. Yeah, little Southern girl. And
Yeah.
when I was out there, when I would visit, I mean, we would go to restaurants and stuff like that, and people would hear me speak. They would always ask me, the closest Southern state, I believe, is Texas. They would say, "Oh, are you from Texas?" And I'm like, "Oh no, North Carolina." They're like, "North Carolina? That's on the other side of the country." And,
So
and I would tease people. I would say, yes. And when I get home, I have to wear the big Southern, skirt and hoop and skirt and stuff. As soon as I get off the airplane, I have to put that on and have to go to the plantation. And, my life is completely different. And people would stare at me like, really? That really goes on? And, 40 years ago, I could say something like that. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm just kidding. But that was funny. Burt really loved those stories when I would tease people like that. Like, they really believed it. Because most people back then had not even, we didn't have flights. People could just go to North Carolina across the country like
Right.
that.
So when you and me were having a talk before this interview, you were telling me about a funny story when you actually had to make a phone call to get permission for your book.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to know this story because I think it's great.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, my hands, I knew I needed to call DC Comics. I wanted to publish the book, and I did not want to be in trouble of not getting the permission to do it. So I called, I really thought about it and thought about which day would be the perfect day, and I prayed about it. Well, I came to call on Adam West's birthday, September 19, 2019. Actually 2018, I'm sorry. I called on his birthday, and I found the number on internet, and the receptionist patched me up to Jim Lee's office, just like that. And his secretary, Dora, answered the phone, and I told her who I was. And first she said, "How did you get this office?" I'm like, "I just called." And
I Googled it.
I Googled it.
I called.
I got Jim on speed dial.
Love Google. I said, I just called, and here you are. And she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, what do you want from us?" And I said, "Well, I'm Karen Whitfield, and I wrote a book about traveling with Adam West and Burt Ward 40 years ago, and it's called Back Driven West." There was a pause, like a little quietness, and I'm sitting there like, what, hello? And she's like, "Okay, so you traveled with Adam West and Burt Ward 40 years ago." She said, "Where have you been?" And she said, "I thought you were a myth, honestly." I said, "No, I was in hiding and here in North Carolina, and I'm now back, and I wrote this book." And she asked me about it. And then we had a nice conversation. Her part of her family it was her daughter. I think her daughter's husband was also living in North Carolina. We just had a hurricane a couple of weeks before that, so we were talking about that. So it was a very nice conversation, and she was really sweet. And she said, "Well, I don't think that you'll get a phone call tonight." And I said, "Well, it doesn't need to be tonight anyway, because I'm going to my daughter's birthday get together." And she says, "Your daughter was born today on Adam West's birthday?" I said, "Yes, she was." She said, "What a story that is."
A lot of coincidences right there.
Right?
I know. My first child was born on Adam West's birthday. Who would have thought? But anyway, I said, "So, whatever time frame, I would just, like." She said, what do you want us to do?" I said, "Well, I have pictures I want to be approved, the manuscript, just to see if there's any issues." And she said, "I tell you what," she said, "you will hear from someone. I'm not sure if it will be him, but you will definitely hear from someone." 3 days later, the manager of the commission's office called me. And she said, she asked me, what I had to send. I told her, she said, well, if you'll write a synopsis of the book, I'm like, a synopsis of the book? How do I write a synopsis? I don't remember. It's a long time since I've been in school. So I got Google out again. How do I write a book synopsis?
Google wins again.
Yes.
Google.
So I wrote this 2-page synopsis, and a couple of days later, she said, "Okay, well, everything looks good. We'll send you the contract." And then it took about 4 months before the contract was sent to me.
Wow.
And then I had a lawyer look at it, and the lawyer said because of legal jargon and things like that, and she said they couldn't have been more than fair. She said it was they were so fair about it. I mean, they are allowing me to travel in and out of the book all over the world, whatever I want to do as Batgirl. The only thing is it needs to stay in English, and not to have a banner because they didn't publish the book. So they didn't want people to think that they did publish the book. So
Right.
I don't have a
Right.
banner of Batgirl, but I can have pictures there. I mean, basically, and all they really asked for is 5 hard copies of the book. So I sent them 5 hard copies and 2 softbacks. I threw those
wow.
in there. And that was good. I mean,
And who signed that contract?
Jim
Jim Lee signed your contract. That's the best
Very
part.
cool.
Jim Lee.
Frame
Yeah.
it.
You best have that framed because
Yes, and yes, you got to have that contract framed.
Right next to the
awesome.
book.
right, yeah.
That's right, exactly.
So basically, that contract gave you free reign to publish DC or Batman and Robin in character form, correct?
Yes, because I had to ask them that, because I thought if they would not give me that okay, then I'm going to have to make up some kind of other superhero. Like, I mean, it was going to have to be, another type story. It would be the story, but I'd have to make up names, and it wouldn't be the same, So I'm
Right.
really
No,
glad
no,
that
no.
they approved it.
Right.
The girl bat.
The girl and her bat friends.
The
Exactly.
man bat. Well, I don't think you can say man bat either.
No, not
No,
Madman.
you
Yeah.
can't say
I
man bat.
can't say that.
How am I going to do it? So
The male bat
the male bat. I was
and the dove.
I was very thankful. I was really excited and thankful.
So, let's see. I know we had many questions to ask you, and I'm glad you're just, giving us all this information about your life and your story and everything you've been through, and which is all positive, which is great. You had an amazing experience, and everyone needs to know this. I'm just trying to think of a couple questions off the top of my head. I don't know if Nadia or LT has anything else they want to add.
I had one more that I really was curious about. Like, what kind of advice would you give to young girls? Like, say when you were out, I know you definitely met a lot of young girls and like their moms. Is there anything in particular that like a moment that stuck with you, or a particular piece of advice that felt very personal?
Number one is believe in you, believe in yourself, believe that you can do anything that you really want to do. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's so true. Just get to know what you're comfortable with and not comfortable with. And that I believe that's going to save you and save your spirit and save your heart of unnecessary pain and hurt. Because when you're in a situation and you know that it's just not right in your gut feeling or how you feel, move yourself from it. I mean, just know who you are and have faith in that. And then, just be a superhero in someone's life, because we all have villains every now and then, and just help others when you can. And if you ever want to share a story and you know that somebody might need to read it, and if you have a feeling that you should, but just remember to have the determination and the faith and the discipline to be able to do it. Don't give up.
Yeah, well, you
Awesome.
touched upon that in your book towards the end of your run as Batgirl. you were telling yourself you needed to stay true to yourself, and you wanted to move on. You wanted to, I guess, go to the next level of your life, and
Right.
and how you describe Burt Ward accepting that, wholeheartedly backing you up. That was awesome. I mean, that
Yeah.
to see that you wanted to pursue other things, and you wrote that you went to stewardess school. You became a stewardess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you kept traveling.
Yeah, I,
You kept traveling. That's what you
kept
did.
traveling. And while I was a flight attendant, I still traveled with them. And even when I moved home, I traveled with them for a while. And, I just, but it's hard to live, 3,000 miles away on the other side of the country, and you're trying to live somewhat of a normal life, and you're going back and forth. I felt like I needed to make a decision, and I could have decided to go back out there a few years later, but that's when, I got married to my children's father. I had the children. That's what I really wanted to do, is bring them up in our life. But honestly, I have a huge faith, and I feel like that there was a path that needed to be taken. And along with Bert, I mean, he might not have known that at the time, and I might have been the vehicle to say that, because with his life and with my life, there's a lot of life I've lived since then. It might be another book one day to fill in the pieces.
Oh, book 2.
Fill in the pieces. But he's done a lot, and he might not have done the same thing if I was with him, and I might not have, our children wouldn't be the same, probably, maybe. So, you have to believe that things happen for reasons, and go with it. Because if I always said, gosh, I wish I didn't leave. What if I'd stayed? If I'd stayed, I'd probably be an actress now, because I was going down that road when I was out there.
Right.
But
that was my next question.
yeah, I got scared, not scared, but then the more I became, North Carolina would have never left my heart, but more I became a Californian. I was in that role. I was getting ready to take speech classes. I had a portfolio. I was doing modeling. So I was definitely going down that path, and I probably would have been an actress, but, and I got a little nervous, because I'm from a huge family, and every time I came home, I just loved being there, and I missed them so badly. And, and I just, I just decided that you can leave, you have to be true to yourself, and you have to feel in your heart what is right, and what you think is you should do. And if you believe in, God, or have faith in that, you should sometimes, you should take that road, because if you don't, then you might wonder, what if. So
Yep. Wise words. I like that.
good. But,
There is one picture that I saw, which I loved. There was a picture of you and Burt Ward in a room with all this Batman and Robin things behind you guys. Tell us about that picture.
I think that was Jackson, Tennessee. I remember someone, Steve Rosinski, he had sent me that picture that he found online. And I didn't know that picture was there. So I'm sure there's probably pictures out in the world that people took back then that, that's not on internet. So he did find that, and he sent it. So I believe that was Jackson, Tennessee in 1979. I was sitting next to him. I had already signed my picture. So I probably was first, and then maybe he was second at that point, because
Right.
the picture was there, and it appeared that I had already signed it. And then that little boy that was standing beside him, his parents, or he probably laid my picture down. So
Yeah, you can, in the
And
picture, you
Burt-
can clearly see your picture on the side.
Right.
Yeah, the one I was like in the corner.
Right. And Burt and I traveled also without Adam. He and I also traveled together, just the
Right.
two of us in different cities.
Right. There's hopefully we find more pictures of you out there, because you traveled everywhere. People took pictures.
With the
Yeah.
book, I feel like more people are gonna like reach out now.
Yeah, I hope so, because we would love to see any pictures anyone has, and send it to us. That way we can pass it on to you, and
That
you'll
would
have
be
more
great.
pictures. I mean, that'd be awesome. I would love to see that.
I would.
What else do you have, LT? Have any other questions for Karen?
No, I mean, I wanted to circle back real quick to your celebrity meetings, and we discussed this on Instagram about you meeting John Wayne, and
Yeah.
I am the
John
biggest
Wayne.
John Wayne
My
fan.
grandpa.
I mean, especially coming from Texas, he was the man. And just real quick, describe how that was. I mean,
Well, he looked larger than a wall. He was big and he was like larger than life. I mean, I remember us walking and I saw him. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's John Wayne coming our way. And my stepfather and my father watched all of his movies, and so I knew who he was, and he was walking toward us. And Burt, I mean, people, when they met Burt, I mean, he was also he was huge to them, I mean, everybody was excited to meet Burt as he was of everyone else. So John Wayne, he was excited to meet Burt. He was Robin, So he met Burt, he held, and he was so big standing next to us. I mean, he was so nice. I mean, he was like John Wayne. And then, so he looked at me, he introduced me to him, and he said, well, hello, little lady. I'll never forget him saying that, and he just
that's awesome.
looked, hello, little lady. And he just looked at me, and I just was speechless. I mean, it was, and then
Wow.
he passed away that year. I think that was in January. I think that was in January, and then he passed away that summer, maybe June or so.
He passed away on June 11th of
June 11th.
1979. That is my daughter's birthday.
Wow.
20 some years later. I know that because, like I said, I'm a super fan, and yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I
and
remember it was that year, so I was really thankful that I was able to meet him, and I did research because Adam was an inch taller than John Wayne.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
But John Wayne seemed a lot larger because he was broad, he was big, and the way he carried himself and the way he walked on the movies, he walked that way.
Yeah, that
Wow.
bravado walk.
Yeah, he walked that way. I mean, so I was really, he was one that really impressed me. And so
That's awesome. Could you imagine meeting John Wayne, hi, LT?
I would just fall over.
So, just out of curiosity, what's Burt Ward doing right now?
well, thanks for asking that. He is, he was the Cape Crusader, and he always will be. But he's also a canine crusader now. He and his wife, Tracy, they have a rescue company that rescues and dogs and sets them up for adoptions. And I think they started it maybe in 1994, and they've rescued over probably by now 20,000 dogs, and had
Wow.
Amazing.
That's
huge
amazing.
dogs, like Great Dane, huge dogs. And he has a big ranch, and a lot of them live there. And he started a dog food company that's having dogs and now cats live 2 or 3 times longer than their age. And huge dogs don't live that long. So these dogs are living. I mean, some I think are in their 20s, but
Oh, wow.
and
Amazing.
I had a friend told me that he thought about me when he went to get some dog food, because he saw, the dog food bag, and it was Burt on there and so on. He said that his dog loves the dog food too.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
I'm seeing pictures right now of the actual
Yep.
dog food. Yeah, it's got Burt Ward's picture on it.
Burt Ward's all full of colors. I
All
like
over.
that. Very nice.
So
I
that's
mean,
really cool that he's doing that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
that's good. I mean, it's especially me being a dog lover myself. I've pretty much always had dogs my whole life. You know what, LT? We should put a link on our website so
Oh, yeah,
people could
definitely.
go and go straight to Burt Ward's website. Order the
Yeah,
food or
it
know more
says
about
here
it.
he's got cat food too. I've got a cat, so Maybe I'll do some ordering here after the
There you
interview.
go.
Yeah, I had a cat too. She lived till March, and she was 23 and a half years old.
What?
Isn't
Wow.
that great?
Look at that.
Yeah, she was awesome. I had her, my daughter wanted her when she was 6, and my daughter was 30 when she passed away. So, of course, when my daughter took off for college and things like that, I kept her. But yeah, it was. So I think animals are just they're angels without wings, you know,
Yep.
for all of us. So, but
Well, it
yeah,
just
I mean,
shows
can
it
I?
shows that Burt Ward continued his heroic duty. I mean, as far
Yeah.
as
That's
Robin,
great.
that's awesome.
Could I say a few things like
Yes,
some
Of
timelines and
course.
things?
Yes,
So,
you can say whatever you want, Karen. You're
okay,
Batgirl.
so coming out, it's amazing how things happen. You know how things happen in your life and just the time. And how this did happen. You were asking how it started. I reconnected with Gigi Ward, Bert's sister, and his daughter Lisa on Facebook.
Right.
And I had not been involved with them all those years. And this was the beginning of it all. And we reconnected on Facebook. And because I didn't get on Facebook for years, I just got on there 7 years ago. So in 2016, we reconnected. And that's how it somewhat started. And we talked for a few months. And then I went out to visit them twice that year. And then, so that was like June, July, and October. And then when I came back after the October trip, something hit me on the airplane about the story, and maybe people might want to read it or hear about it. And then, and then I talked to my daughter, and she felt that it was time, that she thought fans might want to hear it. And then I thought, I do want people to know before we get any older about who they really were in life, and what you think about Batman and Robin, and what you think about Adam West and Burt Ward they really were. And so I put it into play January that year, 2017. I started just jotting down things in a little journal about stuff. And I'm very nocturnal, like Batgirl is, and I could stay up all night. I have to make myself go to sleep, and I would write things down. The next day, I would look at them like, wow, that I wrote that. It's amazing. And but then, as that year, 2017, unfortunately, Adam had passed away in
Right.
June that year. So, but going back, 2016, when I first went out there, that's when DC had their rebirth. They moved from New York to California. I didn't know it. I didn't know until I started researching. Like, wow. So I don't know if it was just the line of synchronicity or what it could have been, how it all happened. But I know that's when that happened, 2016. And then 2017, they wrote this. This is the 50th anniversary, Batgirl 50th anniversary, and it's my sleep.
Yeah.
And it tells this whole story about Batgirl. They published it in 2017. And also the omnibus that year of Batgirl, which is the Bronze Age Batgirl time frame that I was. They had an omnibus that came out December of 17. And then in March of 2019, I finished my book in 2019, and I actually published it in November. So just that timeline. And then, Christina Hodson she is writing the screenplay of Batgirl, and hopefully that will happen. I know with COVID, it has stopped a lot of things going on right now, but I hope she's still working on it. But
Right.
with these things that happen, and I'm still involved with the Bat family in California, with the Ward family, with his sister and daughter and his granddaughter. She came to visit me a couple of times in North Carolina, Katie. Matter of fact, my book launch was in February 9th this year, and she came to be part of that, which was really special.
Nice.
And so, just getting involved that much with this now, it's like impeccable timing, and I'm just so thrilled it happened. I mean, and it's amazing how for all those years I didn't, and then now have decided to. that all these things have come out that I've witnessed and seen. I'm like, wow, this is, and I believe nothing happens. Nothing's coincidental. Things happen for reasons and when they happen. And I'm open for the doors to open with this. I want to take it. I'm waiting to see where it's going to go, and I'm open for anything that goes with this. I feel like my book was a platform for many things that could happen. I had like 43 Comic-Con sat this year and 2 comic stores sat.
Wow.
And COVID put those
COVID.
COVID
COVID
wiped
did that
them
to
out.
everybody.
Yeah, COVID. And I like to have a platform because and maybe writing my next book, because my life has changed so many times. I've done a lot of things within this life, and I might write another book about that, just to show people, you know, what can happen in your life, and just always have a silver lining and just move forward. And then, you know, maybe write about it because someone else might need to read it. But and also just I have I know 5 women that have lost their children with opioids, and maybe it could be, I know it's really sad, and there's a lot out there in the world. And I know these 5 women personally that I've met through, you know, my children's friends or through other friends that have introduced me to these women. And possibly I might write a story about them one day and let them come forward and talk about what happened and why. And maybe we might visit schools. You know, I mean, I'm just waiting for this to move forward to see what's going to happen next.
Right. Well, we're hoping that this little interview, you know, goes, you know, viral, as they say. You know, we can really get your word out there. You know,
Definitely.
as a club, we're going to plan to post this and make a page as part of our web page, you know, dedicated to you and your cause, your,
Yes.
you know, your where to find your book, stuff like that, a little bio, you know.
Well, thank you. And I'll post it as well. But yeah, I have a couple of my books here if you want me to show them and where they can get them.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, okay, this one is Amazon. Amazon. It's they can purchase this through Amazon.
Bat Driven West.
Bat Driven West. And if they do purchase one, and they mention, let's just say when I do go to Comic-Con and they mention, I think I heard that when you go to Comic-Con, you have to sell your signature or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm going to do whatever I'm supposed to do, I guess. But if they mention they bought a book and they saw my interview with you all, I will definitely sign it for free. And they don't have to stand in the line if there is a line. I'm hoping there's a line that shows that people.
Oh, I hope there's a very long line.
Me too.
Yeah, we gotta make a line.
Me too. But you 3 don't have to wait a lot, you know. But,
Thank you.
that whoever buys a book through you all, I mean, mentions that they saw my interview through you all, that I won't have them stand in a long line. They can just come up and let somebody know, and I'll go and sign it, and I won't charge or whatever that's supposed to be. But yeah, I'll be glad to do that if they do. And this one here, blurb.com, this one's also softback, but it's glossy. The other one's more of a matte. So I'm not sure what they want to purchase. And then the hard copy, I had to find Blurb to make the hard copy for DC Comics. So this is the hard copy that they
Oh,
That's
that
a
was
hard
good.
copy.
Yeah. So and it's
Yeah, I like that. It feels like a comic.
Let me see the back again. Let me see the back again. The back. Look at that.
Oh,
That's
I love
beautiful.
that. Did
I
you
love
pick the
that.
images?
no. I'm so glad you asked about this. So I feel this depicts my life perfectly. It's like I'm standing in the middle of a comic. I'm in reality, standing in the middle of a comic, looking into my past.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
that's
was a
cool.
picture that DC Comics chose for me years ago to show at the, you know, for people to buy or whatever at the car shows. And this is, and I just love that picture. And it just shows I'm looking. Now, this was created, as well as this was created by David Buscetta, and he is an illustrator in Spain. And
Oh,
he
wow.
was an earth
Amazing job.
angel for me. He reached out to me to be a part of, when Adam died, he has a company called Android Paranoid in Spain, Galicia, Spain. Well, he reached out to me to see if I would be a part of his third story, or and to see it, to talk about Adam, since I
Right.
did know him, to honor Adam, and he had other people on there that knew Adam, and I was so thrilled that he asked me, and he just sent me a message when he saw my Facebook message about Adam. I mean, I was proud
That's
of him
great.
for being, having courage to send me a message and ask me if I would do that, and I was honored. I was, of course, I'd love to. And then I said, by the way, I might need you too. I might, and I feel like he was meant to be. I might need you to to work on a project with me. And he said, what is it? I said, well, I'm writing a book. I need an illustrator for the front and the back part of the book. And he said, I'd love to. He immediately jotted down this back in pencil, and he sent that to me, and I said, I love it, absolutely. Then he put all the
It's
colors.
perfect.
And, yeah, I sent him the picture, and he did all the colors. I mean, it just, these were real pictures that I sent. This is the one that DC Comics used, that with their logo on it. I mean, he made it in, the pencil. But the big one, I believe you might have that one. But then all this is the one, he put in pencil with Burt showing me a pose. And I believe you all might have that one.
Yes,
too.
and we put that right up on the screen too.
But yeah, he just did that. And then I sent him a picture, and he made this. But of course, my hair was dark there. So he made it red to look like, Batgirl. She had red hair. And I just absolutely loved what David did. And I'm really glad that I had this opportunity, because I've not met him. We worked together for 2 years, and he was always there anytime I needed to ask him questions. And we got to know each other really well. And I'm still not met him, and I hope I do in person one of these days. And he did not charge me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's great.
Not anything. He did that.
Yeah.
He was honored to do it, and he was happy about it, and he did not charge me. Now I did have to get him to release it to me.
Right.
DC Comics asked me. Also with the suit, Judy, she can't make another one, so both of them had to release the the copyright to me of that. They can't do
So
it.
you can't get another suit made without.
Oh, I can. She can't make another one,
You can't make another
like
one.
to sell or whatever. But if I asked her to make another one, she can.
Okay.
Like if you were to do cons, would you be allowed to wear one?
In other words, I have the rights. In other words, I have the rights to this and that. I mean, because they had to release that. And David he was fine with it. He did not have a problem. And then Judy, she had to release. She wouldn't make another one unless I asked her to. But yes, DC Comics said that I can wear it when I travel, I can wear it, or I don't wear it, whatever I want to do. They gave me the rights that I can do that. And I
That's
can
good.
This I can wear. So
Yay!
That's awesome.
That's great.
yeah.
So if I'm right, everyone could buy your book on Amazon. Okay. And the other company is
Blurb.
Blurb.
Mhm.
Okay. So blurb.com. So, Amazon Blurb, soft cover, you can get an ebook, hardcover. It doesn't matter. Everybody go there, buy this book. Definitely. You are going to be signing a book for us. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Karen is definitely willing to sign a book for us, which we will do a giveaway, and someone will have a signed copy of her book. So, I'm excited for that. So, we're going to definitely put that on our website and our Instagram page, so people can join that contest free of charge, as just a giveaway. And that was very nice of you to do for us. So I know
Thanks
someone
for asking.
lucky out there is going to get a signed copy, especially for their collection. So
Oh, yeah.
that'd be great. Trying to think what else that we haven't asked that we should ask, because this is an amazing story. Anything come to mind? I think we
Bill, I
nailed
mean,
everything
I
here.
touched on everything I read. I mean, like I said, I love the book. It really came across as endearing to you and to the characters, Batman and Robin, Burt Ward and Adam West. And I love that about it. And how you've carried yourself since. That it really shows, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that also. But yeah, the empowerment of women, just like Nadia said, we do have power, and we have power in what we say and how we treat people. And I do want to say that, and I've kept that in my life ever since I left there, because they taught me, Burt and Adam, well, they taught me a lot, and Batman and Robin, they taught me a lot of knowing who I am, and showing, in front of people, that people watch you when you don't even realize they're watching you, and they hang on to every word when you don't even realize they are doing that. And to be kind, it doesn't, it's easy, just be kind and just show people you care, and that, and women, we have that ability to be strong and soft at the same time. And it's not easy to take that character, but you can do it. I mean, you can, so.
Right. So, also I wanted to add, me and LT were having a conversation. We want to make you an honorary celebrity guild member.
Oh.
So we are going to dedicate a page for you on our website.
Aw.
So everyone can get links to your book,
Thank you.
To your Instagram page, so people can start following you. And also we are going to have a link on our website for Burt Ward for his Gentle Giants food. So people could go out there and purchase his dog food as well. I think this was great. I'm so honored and happy you came on our show. We all got to meet you and know you, and I hope everybody else got to know you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. This was an
Thank you.
honor. This was an honor, and it was nice meeting you, all three of you. And thank you for asking me. And I'm excited, and thank you for giving me that honorary on your page. That's exciting.
You're welcome anytime. So everyone, thank you for watching at the Comic Collectors Guild YouTube channel. We'll have a lot more coming up. Hopefully Karen comes back in the future, maybe book 2 or just to hang out with us. So thanks a lot, and come again. Bye.
Bye.
There.